What's up, YouTube? What's up, YouTube? It's your boy JFlood back with another reaction. Alright, we're going to do some end of sentence today with 1090 Jake. We're going to see what he's talking about. I saw this yesterday on Shade Room on New York Drill, the Instagram, and I'm surprised at how quickly end of sentence was able to turn out some content for it. So we're going to give him a quick reaction. If you don't already follow 1090 Jake, I'm going to be honest that I'm surprised you're on my page. But if you don't, go to his page, click link, or click like, click subscribe, give it a thumbs up, the video, all this shit, right? Because with that being said, if they don't make content, I don't make content because you're here to watch my reaction to it. We're gonna react to it together. So I did know about this yesterday, at least the bond of Dthang, the Bronx rapper from RPT. Alright, that's River Park Towers. Alright, I used to live in the Bronx. I'm very familiar with the Bronx. I'm familiar with RPT. I know about their beefs and who they're into it with and all that type of shit. So we're gonna go ahead and jump into this reaction. Apparently though, if you guys remember, Dthang was arrested about a year ago in Miami with just some bud and a gun though. The bud, I think, got dismissed. They don't care about that. Although it still is illegal in the state of Florida. I think it was like a small amount, personal consumption. It probably is decriminalized to a degree where it's like a ticket. But what they cared about was he's certain persons. At least that's what they call it in the state of New Jersey, in the state of PA. They call it certain persons. If you're a certain person, it means that you're a felon. You can't have a gun. You're not supposed to have a firearm. Or you might have a restraining order on you. Or maybe you have like past mental health history. But basically, you're barred from owning a firearm under the federal statutes. So, this is bad news for Dthang. Did he just completely train wreck his career? I'm surprised at how Teflon he's been up until now, because if I can be honest with you, he seems like a crash out. He seems like he's not really ahead in the game. His music fell off pretty hard, and I'm going to be honest, I thought he was the best rapper in terms of flow and unique delivery when it came to the New York drill scene. There's better rappers, right, that are rappers, but we're talking about drill. If you remember Caution, if you remember like, I'm trying to think of some Dthang stuff right now, but like Caution, Talking Facts, right? Like those are really good songs. When they came out, everybody was like, yo, don't sleep on the BX. Anyway, we're going to jump right into it here with 1090 Jake. We're going to watch him explain to us what happened with Dthang down in Florida.
Man, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of EOS. It's 10. We're going to be talking about when the Bronx moves to Miami and finds out Miami is the Bronx just with palm trees. As if once wasn't enough, Bronx Drill Rapper Dthang has been locked up in Miami again. Back in June, Dthang will be booked for being a felon in possession of a firearm, a charge that carries up to 15 years in Florida State Prison with 3 years mandatory. And to be honest, we all thought he was done. We expected the feds to swoop in.
I'm gonna be honest though, 3 years mandatory minimum is really not that crazy to us from the Northeast, because we're used to a 48-month mandatory minimum for firearm possession without registration, without license. You don't even have to be on certain persons to get that type of a charge. It's called the Graves Act. And they have a similar statute in New York. It's under a different name, but those basically say mandatory, you're doing 4.5 years. More likely you're going to do a minimum of 5 years for a gun in New York or New Jersey. PA is different because it's a Commonwealth. They're not as serious, but you're still looking at 2 to 3. If you're certain persons and you get hit with that felony, certain persons, as well as the firearm, you're talking 5. So something to keep in mind for the Florida people is like, you guys still have pretty lax gun laws compared to us. to be a felon and only have to do 3 years as a minimum, and then what's the percentage that I got to do on that? 85%? What's 85% of 3 years? It's still close to 3 years, but it's like 2 and 9 months. To us, that's not that crazy. Not to say it sound like we're tough, but like if you actually are the type of person to hold it down, because any amount of time is bullshit. I'm a super civilian. I ain't trying to go to jail, but I'm letting you know from past experience, like that's like half the time we're looking at. Like 85% of your 3 years is like half the time that would be the mandatory minimum for us. Even with the 85%, 85% still tops you out at 48 months. 48 months. Do the math. All right, let's go.
And how they did Pooh Shiesty and grab Dthang, but to our surprise, Dthang would bond out for only $15,000 after having it reduced from $25,000. Now, I don't know if the French-Montana connection played any role, because if you haven't heard, French, who also grew up in the Bronx, is engaged to the Princess of Dubai, whose net worth is over a fucking billion. Either way, Dthang was back out and would drop only one music video, which didn't do great in views, and even his comment section would be hinting at his downfall. But
I can personally vouch for that as a former, as somebody who used to live in the Bronx, somebody who grew up in the North Jersey and stuff, and who now stays in the Northeast, right? Mass, Rhode Island, PA, Connecticut, right? So all like the Northeast, we all stay tapped in and tuned into New York. Dthang is kind of considered on the downward trend. As I said, he had everyone's attention at a certain point, and we thought like, wow, he's gonna be the one to make it out, especially when he signed with French, and But a lot of the rivalry died down. So because I forget their rivals, but like DOA, because DOA got shut down, locked up, what's the guy's name who starts with K? Anyway, because all the DOA guys got put away, his rivals were doing bad, and he didn't like have that like attention. Because when he was out and his rivals were out and there was a back and forth like dissing each other, that's when everybody cared. That's when the raps were really good. That's when he had the voice, the heart. Now that he probably has a little bit of money and is like a hood star, is hood famous, he gets to sleep with any woman he wants. He's getting, za for free, and like clothing and stuff. Like he's spending all his money on clothing and like designer drugs and stuff. His head's not in the game in the same way, So New York, he's not considered like street like that anymore, The like K Gliz, right? Way more street. M Row, Troopers, Bamas, the guys from Brooklyn, right? They Brownsville dudes, KG, right, or something like that, or G Money. A lot of those dudes, and then you got Pop Smoke, you got Sleepy Hollow. Like the New York sound is shifted, and it's not in the Bronx.
Dthang wasn't done in the streets. He'd wind up back arrested after getting caught with over 20 grams of za, a third-degree felony in Florida, punishable by up to 5 years in prison. He'd also be caught with cocaine, another third-degree felony, all while being out on felony bond for the gun. Now, clearly, bro is crashing out, and it's a little ironic. He's running around Miami with coke, wearing a Coke Boys chain. Escaping the streets of New York, it seems like Dthang is struggling to find himself after being released from prison. A common trend we've seen with artists from Bobby Shmurda to even Young Thug. The time away keeps them in the space of where they left off, without understanding while time stood still for them, the world kept moving forward without them. Unfortunately, the chain, grill, and watch might pull hoes, but without dropping music, performing shows, and dropping videos, it's hard to imagine Dthang is pulling in much money right now, and he may just be clouding his mind with drugs to fill the void. After all, he's in Miami, and the city itself is motivation with everyone being so flashy, but it's also an immense pressure for anyone that's yet to find success or those struggling to remain successful. Miami is also a city where police are quick to arrest, so once you have a target on your back, it's only that much harder to thrive. At this time, Dthang won't have a bond because he violated the previous bond. Being arrested on a Sunday, he'll face the judge the day of this video dropping, and his lawyer will definitely pursue another bond, but he may be initially denied as it seems he can't keep his shit together. If he's completely denied, Dthang will remain in the Dade County Jail until trial. Now, this video isn't to bash bruh. As sad as it is to say, rappers lose momentum in two big ways. One is getting locked up for an extensive period of time. You know, like if you just get locked up and get right back out, you didn't lose your momentum. If anything, it's adding to the aura of being a rapper, right? But when you go away for some years, it throws everything off because when you come home, the music isn't the same, the vibe isn't the same, people aren't looking for you the same. And then when people see you, if you're not dropping something that's in tune with that time period you just got released into, it doesn't work. And the other thing that mainly affects rappers is the beef. Not the beef.
I'm so glad he was gonna talk about this, if I could be honest, because one of the big draws to rappers like Dthang's, when you come in from a place like New York, and you're a drill rapper, is your beef, right? Is the fact that he had ops. He was dissing the ops, right? His cousin was, I forget the dude's name, but it starts with a K. You know, the Amiri assassin, right? The designer Death Squad, right? I forget what they was calling him, but the dude who hopped out and shot the barber, right? His ops, right? Like, added so much to the interest. Who's gonna diss who has a better record, who sounds better on this beat, because a lot of the beats in drill get recycled too. That makes a big difference, even with some of the rappers I did name that kind of have an audience right now and are growing. K Gliz, right? If it wasn't for the Troopers just beefing with Bamas, would they be as interesting, right? Bama's K, Troopers K, whatever. There's a rivalry. There's ops. There's an audience. Your haters are tuning in, and the people cheering you on are tuning in. The people who want to see you crash out are tuning in, and the people that want to buy tickets to your club appearance are tuning in. So you have the massive audience. Dthang doesn't have that massive audience right now because his cousin is still locked up. His boy Bando is locked up, right? Bando is a good rapper. Face Mob, his ex-manager, isn't in RPT or moving the same way that he was. He's not out there doing the same type of scammer type shit he was. He probably still is, but even he's growing up a little bit. He's got a family, he's got kids, right? The stuff that he does do that is on that street side of stuff is way smarter, way more out the way, not in people's face. The way Dthang is, the way how flashy Dthang is being. And Dthang doesn't have that option. He has to stay in the limelight, but nothing there is keeping the audience. Nobody is there the same way that they were, and as a result, he's getting burnt out making poor decisions. But that beef is major. Without the beef, there's no interest.
When it's going on, but when it goes away. You know, the fact that Dthang and K-Flock both got took off the streets, but K-Flock is...
K-Flock, there you go. That's his cousin who was a big deal, who they were beefing with.
Still off the streets, and Dthang is home. And then Dthang left New York for Miami. He ain't really able to talk about doing all the crazy shit because we all know the crazy shit isn't even going on anymore. It's kind of like the whole Dirk and Youngboy situation. There's no reason for them to keep butting heads because Dirk is in the feds, Youngboy just got out the feds, and Youngboy is fucking thriving right now. And the thing is, his music is still the same music it was when he got locked up. You know what I'm saying? It's still the same. The fans want him that bad. Versus Thug came home, and his new album is getting met with a lot of criticism, and I think that has to do with him releasing songs after the interrogation and how much of an effect that's had on his mental. You know what I mean? Like, that clearly threw him all the way the fuck off. But as far as Dthang goes, Miami is a place you go on vacation or a place you go when you are solidified in your career, because Miami is one of the fakest places you can go. You're gonna see rentals, moissanite, you're gonna see fake women, you're gonna see fake rich guys, you know, and it's just a place where everybody feels like they have to compete. As far as a rapper, Miami ain't that safe if you don't have money. Like, if you're not living in the most expensive areas or nice areas, you're gonna be in the trenches, and Miami is very treacherous. Miami, you will get robbed, you will get popped, you will, you know, so I don't know what he's doing down there. Because if you're going down...
This is another good point, is that Miami is not a safe haven for New Yorkers unless you already made it. Think about the mafia guys that moved down there. The mafia guys that moved down there have gotten their hands out of the pie when it comes to the street shit. And if they are still getting envelopes, if they are still tapped in with the Five Families or any of the Italian, you know, the organized crime that goes on here in the Northeast, you know where it comes from? White collar crime, real estate scams, construction scams, you know. So they're able to collect while living down there and stay even farther away from suspicion. Whereas Dthang, you're a drill rapper. You can't spin blocks and have ops living in what might or may be a gated community, which I think you're probably renting. Let's be honest, you probably didn't buy nothing down there, because the real estate is so expensive in Miami. I doubt you bought something as an investment. You're probably renting a lavish mansion or some sort of like Airbnb type situation so that you could show off for these bitches and hoes. And you're not going to be able to keep up or maintain that lifestyle. And you're probably filling the void with image and drugs. And what's the image? The image is having a gun, being, you know, I'm a bad guy. I'm Mr. Tough Guy. I'm a criminal. Look at me. And as a result, you're gonna draw the wrong type of attraction when you should be playing it low. If you are gonna move to Miami, you know what you do? You live in the studio. You find someone with a studio that's built into their crib. You Airbnb your crib, all right? And on weekends, instead of going to clubs and doing all this other dumb stuff, you're sleeping in the studio at this producer's house or something. Like make best friends with, you know, I don't know, but you know, let's just use Scott Storch as an example, because I know he lives down there in Miami, or whoever the producer is for some of these Florida rappers. Get a studio down there and make that your enclave, and don't do crime out of it. No, make music out of it. Because one strategy that I have seen work for people is quantity over quality, right? if you don't understand the sound that you need to be coming out with or what you should be rapping about now that you're not spinning the block looking for ops, okay, well, make as much music as possible. One of them is going to click, right? And you'll be able to find that audience. But he's not moving the right way because nobody ever sees any of these music videos dropping. Why isn't he tuning in with, so, like, what's that Jewish rapper down there with the white dude with dreads? You got Kodak down there. Oh, I guess that's Ops, right? Because that's Blicky Gang. But there's got to be some people you could go make music with and not do dumb stuff with.
When they're getting caught with guns, it means you're not moving around safe areas. And if you're getting caught with drugs, it means you're trying to, you know, get out of your reality. So maybe Miami ain't the best place for you. Now, you would hope that with French Montana backing him, he'll be able to find his way. But at the end of the day, the thing about drill, right, if I compare it to YouTube, with YouTube, imagine if you pick one genre, but like the smallest aspect of it. You know what I'm saying? Like, I cover crime, all types of crime. It might be some random shit that happened. It might be a rapper getting arrested, but I cover crime. And that genre itself has so many different avenues. Now imagine if I narrowed it down to just Florida, right? Well, that's still a lot of crime. But imagine if I narrowed it down to like just Tampa. I'm only gonna cover Tampa crime. Or I'm only gonna cover Miami. I've closed myself in so much from expanding, growing, and reaching new audiences. And when these guys rap and they only do drill, once the beef is gone or the main person you're talking about is dead, you got nothing else to talk about. That's the only thing you can do. So now when you have a multi-millionaire rapper behind you, he's like, yo, we need a club song. You don't know how to fucking do that. You don't know how to drop the banger for the females. You don't know how to drop what's gonna keep them moving in the club. All you know how to talk about is shooting at this dude, and he ain't free anymore, so you ain't shooting at him. And you just got caught with a hammer, so you really not even supposed to be around no shit. You gotta move out of the city, go to another city. So you really can't even talk about none of the shit that solidified you as a rapper to begin with, because you close yourself off with the genre of drill. And that's why drill just really ain't it, if I'm being honest. If you want to look at the greatest drill rappers, 90-something% of them, the shit did not work out well. They either died, got locked up, or fell the fuck off because it just couldn't go nowhere. But hopefully Dthang is able to pull himself together, get himself out of the jam that he's in. Maybe he needs to just surround himself with different people that will motivate him once again and push him into that studio instead of the other shit that he's been on. But hey, it's 10-9.
All right. Well, shout out 1090 Jake for that breakdown. I agree with everything he says. You guys already seen my reaction to it. This is a net loss for not just New York and the drill scene in general. But if we're honest, it's really only a big loss for Dthang himself. There's going to be hundreds of new drill rappers that come out of New York. There's going to be new beefs that are just as interesting. There's going to be new people to get signed. If Dthang wants to stay relevant, he's got to start making better choices for not just his money, but his long-term welfare. All right, yo, it's JFlood201. I'll see you guys in the next one, all right? I'm going to be churning out some reactions today. So stay tuned for my next live reaction or my next live video. We're going to be talking about Murder B, all right? The shorty from, the drill shorty from New York. And with the New Jersey baby daddy, Bam Bam Real.